In this video, we will cover all the darkest secrets about modern warships. From basic information about the game, going down to the deep events that people already forgot about modern warships. So let's start with the level 1, and we will start with Sergio Petro, the dev of the game himself, the creator of this magnificent game. So, I know that there's a bunch of new players that don't know anything about this, but Modern Warships was developed by only two people. Yes, two guys developed this magnificent game. I'm talking about the early stage of Modern Warships. Those were Sergio Petro and Andrei Pakomov. And there's a bunch of things that makes Sergio so special. The first one is that it seems like this guy works like crazy. I want to show you this image of his chair. Okay, so he purchased this chair in 2020, and you can see what happens in 2021 after the Modern Warships release. So we can see that he was sitting for at least 8 hours or more per day while working in Modern Warships. And it wasn't the first time. Remember that back in 2022 he shared this picture and he said that he worked 12 hours with no rest to speed up the tank mode. So I guess that he realized that he can't do everything by himself, because now there are more than 15 people working in Modern Warships. And also there's a separate crew working only for the tank mode. The Easter eggs. The first Easter egg is located in Stone Peaks. Okay, so this is a map of the game, and there are a lot of players that have no idea that these exist. And those are the meme faces that are located in one of the mountains of the game. But that's not all, because there's another face submerged underwater. You can only see that face using a submarine. At the beginning of this video, I talked about two of the devs of this game, Sergio Petro and Andrei Pakomov. Sadly, Andrei Pakomov passed away in 2021. So, in his honor, some items were added to the game. The first one was the Andreevsky flag. It was a special flag dedicated for him. And the first day that it was launched, 120,000 players purchased this flag. Also, a new helicopter was named in his honor. I'm talking about the AP Phoenix. The AP means Andrei Pakomov, and the Phoenix, the immortal bird. In the early version of the Arctic map, before it was remastered, it was possible to fly through the mountains. I'm not talking about some kind of special passage, but literally you could fly through the mountains. Okay, so this was some kind of bug with the game, and it was fixed in the last version. 3D flight mode. Only the OG players will remember this. When Modern Warships was released, it was a basic gameplay, and you didn't have the ability to control your aircraft. I'm talking about climb or descent. It wasn't possible, because it was a feature inspired in the world of Warships planes. That's what I guess. And back then, the feeling was like you were flying in slow motion. The gameplay with jets was too boring back then. And it all changed in 2022 after the devs released the 3D flight feature. Anniversary collapse. In the first anniversary of Modern Warships, the devs planned a new event, something unprecedented in the game. They wanted to give back a lot of things to all the players for all the support to Modern Warships in the recent year. But they had no idea what was about to happen. they planned to give away some limited promo codes. So basically you could redeem those codes and get incredible rewards such as gold, dollars, upgrade points and cannons. So that was the peak of modern warships. The devs said that they haven't seen so many players until that date. And you may think that it was something good, but the truth was that it was a nightmare. Because someone started leaking the codes, and remember that the codes were limited. This caused a massive crash in the game, and the servers were unstable. A lot of players couldn't claim any reward, and at the end the devs decided to cancel the event. AP Phoenix. This helicopter has a long story, and it is not just that it was created in honor of one of the devs, but also remember that the first design or the inspiration of this helicopter was the Hellhound helicopter. So the devs decided to recreate a new version in order to avoid copyright issues. So they decided to add a second rotor, and at the end they released this AP Phoenix helicopter. This was the first VIP reward of the game, featured in the first battle pass as well, the FA-37 Talon. This strike fighter doesn't exist in modern warships anymore. It was removed due to copyright issues. So therefore, the devs decided to make a new version of the jet. So basically they converted this jet into the FA-XX Strike Fighter. So both Strike Fighters were purchasable with gold, and only a few thousand players were able to test this magnificent Strike Fighter in action. Please comment below if you were one of those lucky players. Tankcopter. Back in 2022, the devs released this video that shows a tank equipped with nuclear missiles and also flying as a helicopter. So I mean, it's a normal dev joke, but the problem is that back in the days, a lot of players believed that this was going to be a new item of the game. They really thought that this was some kind of a VIP helicopter that will arrive in a future update. Something similar happened with the video of the tank against the warship. Some players thought that a new game mode will arrive, including tanks and warships in the same battle. And this was just some test of the devs. Golden Era. A lot of people believe that the peak of modern warships was between 2021 and 2022. Personally, I believe that the current state of the game is the best ever. But a lot of players feel some kind of nostalgia because of all the changes that modern warships received. I was one of those players who played this game before the VIP pass or battle pass existed. Back then, there were no bundles or other type of paid rewards. So here's a picture of the first daily logging reward of the game. So back then, it seems like you could receive premium rewards and the RF Variag at tier 3. There's a lot of premium air defenses and cannons. This is crazy. Promo codes. I know that a lot of you remember the promo codes, but there's some people that still have no idea why the devs took the decision of removing the promo codes forever. The first reason were the problems with the server. Remember that sometimes when a lot of people tried to use the code at the same time, it will cause the game to crash sometimes. Also, another problem was that there were some hackers in the game that used to leak all the promo codes. And also, there were a lot of fake YouTube videos about people promoting new promo codes, which were totally false. In fact, those were hackers. So the promo codes were removed, and now the new way to receive a reward is via your mail. Consult updates. I remember when this footage was released. At first, I thought that this was a new game mode and that we would have to defeat a monster in a new game mode. Okay, so this was incredible at that time. Remember that the devs released this, but they didn't say anything. That's why a lot of hype was created and a lot of players were expecting a cracking game mode. But at the end, this was a test or a joke, like the Tankcopter. Also, there was a day mode in the Lost City map before it was remastered. Back then, the 3D mode didn't existed yet. The devs took inspiration from Ace Combat 7 when they released this map. So I don't know why they decided to just use the night version of this map, because it looks incredible, to be honest. Golden Tiger. This is the most exclusive camouflage of the game. Yes guys, I'm talking about this golden camouflage that just a few hundred players have in modern warships. It was released for a limited time and it seems like it was an error of the devs. So this camouflage is available for the CN Type 055. It had a price of 15,000 gold bars. But to this date, no one knows the reason for the devs to remove this camouflage. They only removed the camouflage from the store, but the players who purchased this camouflage still have this in their inventory. At the end, the devs replaced this camouflage with a new one called White Tiger. So in my opinion, the White Tiger camouflage is better, but the golden camouflage is very exclusive and rare. So to be honest, I think that this camouflage right now doesn't have a price because it is very limited in the game. Belgaro. I remember the day that the devs decided to add Belgaro in the game. Remember that this was a free submarine that everyone could have in the game, but there was a problem when this was released, and it was that this submarine was too unbalanced. I'm talking about the Poseidon torpedo, the missiles, and also the oxygen capacity of this submarine, because literally you could spend the entire match submerged and you were able to destroy all the warships, including battleships, which was crazy. This submarine was better than warships like Blue Shark or even battleships like Missouri. You were able to destroy those warships without effort. So there was some kind of confrontation between the free-to-play community and the players who spent money in the game. Basically, the free-to-play community claimed that the pay-to-win players were mad because a free submarine was better than all the premium items of the game. And in fact, I think that they were right. This was so OP. At the end, the devs had to nerf this submarine. They nerfed the oxygen capacity and also the damage of the Poseidon torpedo and other torpedoes of the submarine. So I don't remember if they nerfed the nuclear missile as well, but I'm pretty sure that they nerfed the Poseidon torpedo. Tier 4. Believe it or not, Tier 4 was announced 2 years ago by Sergio Petro himself. He announced two new warships, including a new aircraft carrier, and he believed that the best thing that he could do is to add those new warships into a new tier 4. So back then, he suggested that the leader class destroyer and the RF Storm should be added to tier 4. Also, there has been a discussion through this year. A lot of players are saying that there's a lot of warships and battleships that shouldn't be included in the tier 3 because it makes the game unbalanced. In my opinion, they are right, because there are items that are getting better and better. I'm talking about the new VIP helicopters, bombers and strike fighters that sometimes is almost impossible to fight against them in tier 3. So I believe that not now, because I think that there's not enough content to create a tier 4 right now. But in the future, I think that this should be a good idea. If I think that it is something that is necessary for the balance of the game. Tank mode. The tank mode has been in development for more than 3 years now. It was announced back in 2021, and remember that it was announced as a separate game mode but within Modern Warships. They said that we should have the tank mode with Modern Warships as well. They weren't planning a separate game as they are doing it today. So the problem with this is that they didn't realize the amount of work that they should have to do. They released a lot of footage and a lot of players realized that the game wasn't as good as they announced it. The tanks didn't have armor in the module mode, so the players were complaining about this because the tanks were too weak. You could destroy a tank with only one shot. So therefore, the release date of the tank mode was postponed not once but 3 times. And to this date, a new game was announced. Okay, so this is now a separate project with a separate team in Artstorm. Now there are more people working in this game, but it won't be part of Modern Warships. A lot of players were expecting to get all their items. I'm talking about their helicopters, strike fighters, and even bombers in the game. Okay, so they thought that you could use the money that you had in Modern Warships in this new game. But it seems like it won't be possible, so that's why a lot of players are mad about this decision, and I totally understand them.